Who is this year's Nick Chubb? Deep Sleepers coming at you.
Welcome to the Fantasy Underdogs Podcast with your host, Dr. Ike and BJ.
Fantasy Underdogs here. We're talking about who's going to be this year's Nick Chubb, basically our deep running back sleepers. We're going to start it off with my man Damian Harris on the New England Patriots. This guy at Alabama, he did some things with Josh Jacobs. He wasn't the starter, but he had 20 touchdowns over his final 2 seasons. That's very productive. He had only 529 touches on top of that, which means he's got some fresh legs. I like that as well. And from when I read an article on CBS, his pro comparison is Carlos Hyde. We like Carlos Hyde in a New England backfield, don't we? That sounds pretty nice. So why not stick him in there as a rookie? That sounds perfect. What do you think, Hyde?
My first deep sleeper is going to be David Montgomery. I guess he's not really a deep sleeper since people start to know who he is nowadays, but he's en route to get the starting job in Chicago. He's a really elusive back. Matt Nagy loves him. He has good hands. He has a potential to be a 3-down back. He's on a good offense. The offensive line is good. He's literally in a situation where he can, thrive in. So I like him a lot. I think he's probably going to be jumping up boards, and he'll be in a probably top 5-round pick, closer to the draft. But, as sleeper potential, yeah, he might. If he doesn't get the starting job right away, he could fall.
That's
so,
true.
The value might be there to take him. I do see a lot of upside with this guy, though, as far as like over 1,000 yards rushing and 10 touchdowns. Maybe not 10 touchdowns, but a load of touchdowns.
I could definitely see that, just in the sense that Nagy comes from that Andy Reid style of offense where they want one bell cow. I think they moved up to take Montgomery. I think that's kind of a telltale sign. Whenever you see a team trade up for a guy in certain areas, they gave up a good amount of picks just to move up. I think it was like 14 spots. That's it. They just wanted their guy. They saw that this could be their Kareem Hunt, Brian Westbrook type of guy.
Yeah.
I think that's a super call to anywhere. If you're getting him in like the 5th, 6th round, that's phenomenal value. I love him there in that offense. But the next guy I want to talk about is kind of a super sleeper because there's technically 3 running backs ahead of him on the depth chart, and that's my man Devin Singletary. This guy's a very unique guy in the sense that he had some really good numbers in, I believe it was 2017. He had 33 total touchdowns. That's a nose for the end zone. When I watch highlights on him, whether he was on the goal line, he just always found that gap to find, to just get in pay dirt. And even when it was really long runs, he had the speed, he had the quickness to really make guys miss in the open field. He was phenomenal. Guys are comparing him to Maurice Jones-Drew, which one of my favorite fantasy running backs of all time. That guy was amazing. Now, he didn't have as good of a 40 time as MJD, but he proves he has quickness and agility in small spaces, and he's got that nose for the end zone. So it's just a matter of beating out, LaShawn McCoy, who's old. You got Frank Gore, who's even older, and TJ Yeldon, who's never been a full-time starting running back before. He's had some, brief little blips where even last year he was very useful, but I think Singletary being the second coming of MJD possibly, that's the guy I want to draft.
Yeah, he might have a decent chance to be good. I mean, McCoy's injury prone. Frank Gore never gets hurt anymore, but he's, again, 85. So you don't know how much he's actually going to be playing, So my deepest sleeper, though, is Darwin Thompson out of Kansas City, running back drafted in the 6th round.
That is deep.
That's deep, right? Yeah. He was pretty good at Utah State, man. He had a 6.82 yards per carry. He's super fast and explosive. He fits that Andy Reid offense perfectly as a receiving threat out of the backfield. Damian Williams, everyone's pretty high on, and he's never been a full-time back, of his entire career. So can he shoulder the load for the whole season? We don't know that yet. They did bring in Carlos Hyde, who you spoke of earlier. Again, that guy's been on 3 teams in 2 years. How much does he have left in the tank, honestly? So Darwin Thompson, he only had 1 fumble in college. He played in the Mountain West Conference. He had 14 touchdowns. So the guy is explosive. He had 6.8 yards a carry, So people comparing him to as a Tariq Cohen type of running back and an Andy Reid offense, that scares me, a lot. It's very enticing.
Yeah.
He could be like the next Brian Westbrook. Who's to say that? Use him in those little scat back screen passes. He could be a great flex option towards the end of the year.
Loves using those scat backs.
And no one's going to draft him. You'll probably get him in like the 12th, 13th, 14th round. Who could be a steal.
Yeah.
So that's a guy that I think everyone should remember. Darwin Thompson.
Yeah.
Running back out of Kansas City.
Very good. And with that is our deep sleeper running backs. Please like, subscribe, comment, do what you got to do.
Who's this year's Nick Chubb? Deep sleepers coming at you.
You said Nick's Chubbs.
Nick's Chubb? Did I say Nick's Chubb?
This year's Nick's Chubb. Who's Nick's Chubb?
How big is Nick's Chubb?